drugs. I am now going to perhaps seem to diverge here and give some understandings about the use of drugs. It is not really a divergence, however, since drugs have been used by man almost since the original loss of consciousness on earth in the land of Pan. Since then, people have used drugs to increase the split between spirit and will, even to the extreme of dying, to escape feelings and consciousness they don't want to accept, and also to try to heal the split and regain feelings and consciousness they believe they have lost. Understandings are needed about drugs. Drugs can help show the way, but they cannot take the way for you. The person using them must know how they can help him. They are not help if you become dependent on them. They are not help if you do not use insight gained from drugs to improve your consciousness on your own. If the drug is helping you, it will take you out of your present prison and show you more that you can assimilate into your consciousness. Drugs have actually damaged many more people than they have helped. Drugs have so far shown themselves to be treacherous because of their ability to gain a hold on the one using them. Any judgment held about drugs affects the experience had in taking them. If the person believes he has to have the drug, then he has to have it. If the belief is held that a drug is necessary to get high, or that pain cannot be handled without drugs, the judgment will create the reality. Drugs have a place like anything else. Sometimes relief from pain is necessary, sometimes expansion of consciousness is helped. But for many, drugs have declined into a habit pattern. In these cases, the will is not able to handle the drugs. Drugs are substances that are hard for the will to eliminate, especially if the will is undermined, and the will of everyone on earth today is undermined. The accumulation of drug residue will be felt as reduced sensitivity and eventually as complete interference in the nervous system that obstructs the consciousness, sensitivity and awareness considerably. The dosage of the drug must then be increased to produce a similar effect. This increases the residue which calls for increased dosage once again. So be careful with the use of drugs. If your will wants to recover, drugs may not be what they seem to be. In more people than not, the increased consciousness they were seeking originally becomes, with habit and time, the decreased consciousness they were seeking to transcend when they began taking drugs. The attuned will probably won't want drugs, but nothing should be entirely ruled out. However, I will emphasize that drugs can be a treacherous path because they can lead you exactly where you are not trying to go. An understanding needing mention is that people are not meant to decide about the use or non-use of drugs for one another. When some people judged drugs to be damaging, they were being accurate about their own experience, but the form of a judgment is not useful. More than the drug or drugs, it is the consciousness using the drug that is the determining factor. Drugs cannot be used to further your own denials or to try to permanently avoid something that seems too overwhelming at the time it happens without having to recover this later. You need to know what you are doing and why you are doing it, and be willing to accept as soon as possible anything drugs are helping you to escape, such as intense pain or grief. Many people have an uneasy, unsettled, empty feeling that they then try to avoid in this way also. Some people mask and avoid symptoms with drugs until the body's problem is extensive and may even require surgery. Even anesthesia for surgery will result in eventually having to accept both the pain of surgery and the pain of rejection felt by that part of the body that was not allowed to be with you and have the message of its symptoms accepted. Anesthesia is only a temporary escape. Nothing is left unfelt when you are completely present with yourself all the time. Any space in which you were unconscious contains feelings that you must accept when you can. Unconsciousness is the response of not being able to accept something, or choosing not to accept something when it's happening. Responsibility for disconnection and denial must be taken as soon as the spirit involved is able to do it. The will and the body remember the pain of surgery and everything else experienced, and can remember this from life to life. And so, at some point, everything will have to come forward to be cleared and given a place of acceptance. Even the loss of memory of recent past lives and distant existences in Pan, Lemuria and Atlantis is based on denial. If you use drugs, use them with this understanding if you can, and not to increase your own denial. Understandings on denial. Different kinds of spirits like different kinds of situations and societies. There is no problem here if no force is used to make anyone live in any way that is not compatible with their own nature. Lemuria and Atlantis both had problems from the disconnect of will and spirit. But they also both had problems because all the different kinds of spirits living in those societies could not approach life in just the same way. Minorities need a place in which they can freely do what they feel is the right thing for themselves. If this immediately brings to mind fear that people will get out of control, you need to realize that you're carrying this judgment. Denial is something upon which society has been built since the beginning on earth, and people do not yet have the experience of society without denial. Society actually can be based on an aligned spirit and will balancing in the heart. Society on earth is going to change in the next few years so that spirit and will can express freely from the heart. Alignment of individuals will align society. This transformation is just as possible as transforming the entire body with the consciousness. If you have overridden your will and experienced something catastrophic, your will must have the option to transform in this life or go into the next one. Anything you heal is a transformation. The definition of healing must be expanded to include returning yourself to your full consciousness and healing all the separations within yourself and between yourself and me. Because I am everywhere and everything, this separation has been thought by many to be simply illusion. In a sense, it is illusion, but it has been applied in two ways that I want to point out here. One way has been to insist that I am not present at all and act as though there has actually been a successful disconnection from origin and from whatever parts of the self are not accepted. Another approach to this same illusion is to insist that there is no separation going on at all. Both views have some truth and also some denial. I can be shut out, and my presence as light can be reduced to almost nothing, and in some cases to nothing. I am, however, present anyway as dense forms. By not recognizing light in such dense forms, some spirits have convinced themselves that they have gotten away from me. Others, by the same token, have convinced themselves that they are with me by recognizing everything as a form of light. There is nothing wrong with any of this unless there is a hidden denial present, the denial being denial of the true feelings. I say there is hidden denial here in most cases. I have differentiated my energy into many forms. Different spirits accept me in different ways, in different forms, and in varying intensities. The hidden denial here is either of me or of the self. Some spirits that have denied my presence on earth are really not wanting me to be there, and have created an illusion they insist is reality. Some spirits deny my presence so that they can avoid their feelings about me. This is a way to deny their own fear, anger, and other feelings they have towards me. Some spirits that recognize me in everything have denied their own feelings about form. Everything is not the same, or I would not have differentiated matter into form. Form is not something to be denied either. Many spirits that say it makes no difference how they receive me have denied their own feelings that they would like to have me limited to present reality on earth, but would also like me to be present with them in ways they can hear in words, see as light, feel as the presence of exquisite unconditional love, and experience as the power to transform themselves and their lives on earth. This is not a fantasy that takes place after death. It is very real and can happen now. This is something you can find in your own being if you want it. This is not something too difficult to do either. But it may involve more than you first thought it would. The journey to your full consciousness and to your full awareness of me is full of adventure for you and is the most exciting journey you could take. In saying this, I fully realize everything you do is part of your journey, and yet some routes are more direct than others. In speaking of this, I want to point out that all differentiation of energy into form has been termed illusion by some. The ones saying this do not fully understand or accept form, and whether they realize it or not have judged against me. The judgment that they are holding is that I have only created the illusion of having created anything, that really everything is still just the same and never changes. This is a judgment against experience too. This is not something to take lightly here. Judging against my creation and the experiencing of it is judging against my evolutionary process, and your own too, for that matter. This is a judgment that you will experience if you hold it instead of experiencing me. Rejection of my creation is possible, but this then will be your own experience, and not the experience of my creation in general. Many spirits have made these judgments without realizing what they were really doing, and often manage once again to avoid their true feelings of lack of acceptance for themselves, others, and the creation by hiding their feelings in the belief that all is illusion. I need to comment on this because it is very widespread on earth. Many people that claim to accept me do not really accept my forms, but only accept me as light. Others that find themselves out in the world of form claim they do not miss my intense presence as light, because they accept me as form. I am both, and spirits need to accept me as both. The split toward me is part of the separation illusion on earth. It is a very real illusion too, since almost no one on earth now is able to speed up their physical body until it becomes light. Some spirits believe they have solved the problem of the loss of this ability by saying it's not appropriate for the physical body to turn to light, because it's physical and meant to be dense. This is also a judgment and not true understanding. All energy is meant to be free. Body is only meant to be physical if it wants to be. Many have made assumptions here that because body is physical, it wants to be. This in fact would be true if everything were aligned. Some say it's not possible to be out of alignment anyway. This is actually a way in which many spirits avoid feeling the overwhelming fear and panic they actually hold deep within themselves in a state of denial. Lack of alignment with the self and with me is actual reality for many spirits on earth. The illusion is that nothing can really happen to make it different no matter what you do. This is a major way in which spirits have explained away things that otherwise would have been, they felt, too overwhelming to accept. This is called denial. When you cannot accept what is happening to you because it's too overwhelming, and you instead tell yourself that it is not really happening, you open the way for judgments, misunderstandings, illusions, emotional blockage, and everything else that is needing to be cleared on earth right now. Denial is happening when you cannot accept your own experience. This denial has been increasing over time on earth. In the beginning, the denial was not thought to be much. It began with denial of feelings because some feelings were not believed to be as pleasant as other feelings. When these feelings came up, they began to be avoided and not accepted or expressed. In the beginning, this was not even thought to be denial. The feelings were not thoroughly understood then, and many thought that the feelings were something that could be accepted or not, in the same way that other experiences could be accepted or not. Feelings, however, are not something exterior like other experiences. Many spirits were confused on this point and rejected feelings they did not like. This was rejecting a part of themselves. Rejecting a part of the self is not possible without reclaiming it later. The increase in denial has mainly taken place in this way. Rather than rejecting experiences that did not feel good, many spirits rejected their feelings towards these experiences instead. Feelings are only responsive. They did not cause an experience to be unpleasant. Feelings are only the will's response to what the spirit is doing. Many spirits that didn't like their will's response overrode their will and denied the validity of its response. Among all the spirits, the entire spectrum of possibility exists, from no denial to complete denial of the will, from minimal denial of everything to massive denial of everything. Experience overwhelmed spirits because they were not allowing the feelings to remove them from situations they could not accept. There was another misunderstanding present here among many spirits, and that was that they should ignore their own limits and experience everything because I did. The ones trying this had another misunderstanding about right time. They were not ready. Some denied this by saying time is an illusion. Now this is a pattern of denial. Some have this pattern because of confusion and misunderstanding, and some because they feel they can avoid the reality of their own experience this way. Once again, intent is the determining factor. and some spirits even deny that their intent is what it really is. Some deny ever having made any judgments, and some deny that they have any misunderstandings. Denial is not hard to end once you realize you have it and recognize what your denial is. Denial is usually effective or not. If denial is effective, then you will not know you have it. You will be convinced that your denial is reality. Denial is extensive on earth right now, and I am needing to point it out. The reality is that once you connect to some of your own denials, you will find it much easier to find the rest of them. Denial on earth needs to be cleared. Reality on earth is going to change soon in such a way as to make the retention of denial impossible if you are going to remain on earth. If you are not wanting to release denial yet, you can continue it on another planet. A planet has the right to say who can live on it, and Earth has chosen to have denial cleared. Earth is needing to return to its own image of itself, and that imagery is indeed that of the land of Pan. This cannot happen, though, if people remain on Earth that are opposed to this imagery. I am needing to have you decide whether Earth is for you or not. I am not going to wait to remove spirits that have already indicated to me that they don't want to be here. But I need a decision from many spirits that have not yet decided. I can actually see all of this already, but I want responsibility taken by the spirits involved. I also want everyone that is wanting to stay on Earth to agree to end personal denial and accept the self completely. You need to start with yourself and make an unconditional acceptance of how it really feels to be you. Instead of feeling you must heal everything immediately, you need not. You must, however, have a completely committed intent to end denial and heal all of the separations of consciousness that this created. This includes pain of experiences that the body holds, pain of emotions that the will holds, loss of love the heart holds, misunderstandings and limitations that the mind holds, and disconnection from the spirit that originated all of it. The spirit must have acceptance for its lack of experience in manifestation, and the will must have acceptance for its emotional response to this. Spirit and will must accept themselves and each other. Then body, heart and mind can receive the balanced energy they need. Suffering is the path of having experiences you do not really want to have. I have not required suffering in order to come to me. I have not required spirits to test themselves in this way. I have not asked anyone to find out if courage is sufficient to go past fear. I want to point out that these are all misunderstandings of me. I am love. When I describe original cause, you will see how all the various images of me came to be. Suffice it to say for now that I am a living, evolving God, and all the images of me are frozen pictures. Even the ones saying they do not worship an image of me are holding limits of one sort or another. For example, some believe I am a human-like Father in heaven, and some believe I am so far beyond humans that I do not even speak to them anymore. Some believe I am terrible, angry and judgmental, while some believe I am impersonal and have no feelings at all. Some believe I watch everything they do, and some believe I never look at Earth. I could go on and on, but I think that this will suffice to show you the understanding I want to give. All of this is imagery, and not the total picture of me. Even in putting all the pieces together, you still have a picture that has been fractured by all the separations on Earth. This can be healed also. These fractures need understanding to heal. You need to heal yourself enough with what I'm giving now to be able to accept more. And I want to also point out that this one channel is clear, accurate, what I intend to say, and from me without question. If you feel doubts and fears within yourself regarding this, these also can be processed and thus lead you to the understandings that are right for you. In summary, I want to point out that having experiences you cannot fully accept, along with the accompanying pain and denial, is not leading you to me in the sense of increasing the light. I also want to point out that it is possible to take yourself out of existence for all practical purposes this way. Another understanding needed here is that denial is not necessary or even possible if you do not have experiences until you are ready for them. Instead of being able to escape from what you have already done, you must take responsibility for it, clear it, and gain the understandings needed. Then in the future you will not have to suffer from pain, fear, denial, or anything else happening on earth that is presently troubling the people there. The question of the past has been raised by many. That is over, they have said. Why pay attention to the past? It's gone. The idea that it is over with is not true understanding. If the past were over with, it would not be affecting the present. In this case, the past would be serving as a reservoir of wisdom available to the present. Then why deny and ignore it? If the past is not fully understood and accepted as wisdom, it will repeat in some form until it is accepted. Acceptance is what something seeks to be able to change. Studying the past for what can be gained actually allows the present to become more free and more creative, more abundant and more open to change. Looking at the past can really change the present, and since the present is creating the future, it affects the future also. The past 200 years or so in America has a lot to teach that has been largely denied and ignored. The people originally living there had preserved everything, so that the continent had everything to offer when America was discovered. The Indians that met the first explorers had denial of their true feelings, or they would not have allowed these explorers to leave and tell anyone what they had found. This denial of feelings is what allowed the discovery of America to begin with, and this denial is also what needed the experience in order to learn what has to be learned there. It was necessary to find out how quickly a few unloving beings could take down an entire continent by spearheading a movement in that direction. They have succeeded to the point where I must now intervene. These same beings have incarnated into America for several lives, and have each time furthered their own viewpoint of denying the feelings and the earth itself. They have taken this as far as I can let it go, because they have developed a technology that can actually kill the earth. I cannot allow it, and I will not allow it. The denial here is extensive. Everything expansive is being denied. Denial is even going on where you think there has been acceptance. If you study this, you will see what I mean. It is fear that has been allowing this, and this fear has its roots in original cause, and its first reenactment on earth in the land of Pan. Denial of expansion has been increasing since it originated, and yet the form of this denial represents itself as expansion. It is, however, expansion of denial and compression. I want to mention here that this was not the intent of the ones conceiving the Constitution of the United States. Form is only outward shape of inner essence. Form has received so much denial in my creation that it has been allowed to misrepresent itself. This is in appearance only. If you let yourself feel something first, you can tell what it is. The feelings give the spirit the information needed to gain the understandings. Denial of feelings is therefore an effective way to short-circuit the spirit also. Many people have tried to deny this problem by saying it's not possible for the spirit to have any problem, but I want to say that it is entirely possible. It is even possible for a spirit to get itself so entangled in denial that it cannot continue to exist. Since I have not wanted any of my spirits to do this without knowing what they were doing, I have decided that intervention is necessary. I am offering the understandings needed and taking the action necessary to straighten things out on earth. Part of the action is going to take the form of removing spirits from earth. This needs to be accepted by the ones remaining on earth. I have tried to clear the earth before of spirits that deny me, the earth and the feelings. Each time the ones remaining have drawn back to earth the ones removed. This happened because of misunderstandings about right place and denial of true feelings. Acceptance of true feelings would have allowed me to put spirits in their right place. Denial of true feelings in favour of an image of loving acceptance did not allow it then. Right place and true feelings must be accepted on earth now. It can be seen on earth that many things are not in their right place. True feelings must be accepted in order for things to go to their right place. Think about this and see how it works in your own life. Denial cannot see what is really happening and cannot feel it either. Things can then be out of place and you do not let yourself recognize it or express yourself in a way that would put feelings in their right place in relationship to you. Right place is tied in with loving acceptance also. Loving acceptance means that everything has a right to be. Right place means it doesn't have to be where it's not accepted. Denial of right place has allowed everything to mix together on earth in the belief that this was loving acceptance. Loving acceptance does not deny anything, that is true, and yet there was hidden denial here, even though many loving spirits thought there was not. These spirits pressured themselves, trying to make themselves accept other spirits and experiences that they did not like. True feelings were denied here, and in this denial, the denial spirits could operate. If you have no denial, you have no denial spirits around you to reflect it to you. Without denial, you are no longer right place for them, and they are no longer right place for you. Expression of true feelings is going to let the ones around you know whether you want them there or not, and likewise, you will find out if you are in your right place or not. There is dread on earth of having everything come out in the open. This dread of seeing reality for what it really is has deep roots in original cause and was first reenacted on earth in the land of Pan. Denial is the way many have avoided their dread, fear, and even panic. Spirits need to be ready for the experiences they have. Emotions are not to be denied in favour of the experience that is triggering them. This is how many spirits got themselves overwhelmed to the point of feeling they had to deny. Denial is now so much a part of everyone and everything that almost No one realizes any more that they are doing it. In Pan, many spirits felt overwhelmed by the reality they saw before them. These spirits felt they could not leave Earth. These spirits could not make the ones upsetting them leave Earth because of their confusions about loving acceptance. These spirits then felt they had no way to go other than denial. Some denied the reality in front of them, and some denied their feelings about the reality in front of them. Denial compounded the problem it attempted to solve by allowing the situation to get much more out of hand than it would have otherwise. Experience is still overwhelming many on Earth today. The situation has gotten so out of hand that many feel they cannot do anything but deny it. Many have held in denial everything they feel about the world in general and have tried to live their own lives as best they can. Yet this is no longer the way they want their lives to be. Denial is having to take place in personal life now also in order to avoid what would otherwise make life unpleasant and frightening. In short, you've been pushed to the wall on Earth. The denial now has to move. This is the only out available. Recognition and removal of denial is going to open the way to reclamation of power. Overpowering has taken place because of denial, and individual power is lost when parts of the self are placed in denial. When denial ends, the overpowering will also end.